back to the channel, guys. Hope everyone's doing well. Look at this. This looks interesting. So we have got here a full suspension fat electric bike from a brand called Cyrusher. I think that's how you say it. So this bike's called the Kommoda AM3. Full suspension. That's the rear suspension. And look at these front forks. They're like double crown. So this is the first full suspension fat electric bike that I've actually had to review, so I'm pretty excited about this. Because although fat tyres do give you a level of suspension and cushioning, they're not the same as full suspension. And actually you can find, if you've got front suspension on a fat bike and no rear, so it's like a hardtail, you can find yourself bobbing up and down on sort of more rougher terrain. So this, hopefully, will be a lot better. So this has got a 250 watt motor on the back. I'm not sure whether it's geared or not. We've got disc brakes, obviously, and they're cable driven, they're not hydraulic or anything. That's absolutely fine. Battery wise, I like the way the battery fits into the frame here. It's really nice, really sleek. They do this bike in lots of different colours as well. I did actually request the grey. There was like a sort of grey black, like off-white kind of colour. I thought that looked pretty smart, but they said only the blue was available at the time. Happy with that, that's absolutely fine. It does actually look quite nice. It's quite a matte finish, but yeah, overall it looks a really nice bike. Let's have a look at the battery. So the battery just literally clicks out. He says, I think you have to get it halfway. I was a little bit fiddly trying to do this the first time, but so yeah, you basically have to turn it all the way that way and then it clicks and then it comes out pretty easily. So charge port on the side, which lines up with the charge hole on the side of the bike, so you don't have to take the battery out to charge it, standard sort of thing. And this is a 48 volt battery, 14 amp hour, which is unusual for a 250 watt because actually, so 48 volt would normally mean it's a 750 watt or higher. 14 amp hour, that's a good solid capacity for 614 watt hours. That's brilliant for this sort of bike. These bikes are obviously a lot more heavy than sort of like an electric mountain bike or something, so these watt hours are normally a little bit higher. On these sort of bikes, you've also got a little fuel gauge on here which you can use to test how charged the battery is for when it's off the bike. Once it's on the bike, you get the display, and I'll show you that because that's really impressive. I've just had a look at that. So yeah, if we fire up the bike, the display's full colour. Look at that, how smart's that? That looks really nice. And then obviously you've got your pedal assist settings, low, normal, high, and power as well. This one has got a throttle. You get a nice box of bits with this bike. Obviously the charger's in there, and I've opened all this up, but you get a nice toolkit there. There's the set of Allen keys, which will be quite useful for the future. And also you've got, spanner for doing up the wheels, wheel nuts in there. And that's just some other bits and pieces, but you get a pump as well, which is pretty nice. I haven't pumped the tyres up. I'm going to use my electric one to do that right now, and then we can have a little go. The rims are really nice as well. Look, you've got these these indented bits in here as well. Nicely painted, and they look really, really good. Right, I've done the tyres. I haven't gone too mad with the pressures. Look, this has gone up to 85%. It's gone up 5% pretty quick. I don't know what the actual charge rate of this charger is, but it's still only a 2 amp one, but it's gone up quite quick, which is interesting. Right, let's go for a ride. Right, I've just come out briefly. This thing's quick. I don't know what's going on. This is definitely not a 250 watt bike. This is 750 at least. I've actually done a quick little scout around on reviews and stuff, and I think somebody said that it's up to 1,000 watts. So this is pretty interesting. Right. Also, what's interesting, I've just found this setting here for speed, so you can actually adjust the maximum speed, which will. We'll just de-restrict it completely, guys, because, we're going to be sensible. We'll just crank it up, keep going. Oh no, hang on a minute. Yeah, 99 kilometers an hour, that would do. Yeah, so all you do to get into the menu is you just press these two buttons, like the up and down buttons for the pedal assist, and then you get into display settings. You've got advanced settings. Now, display settings is one where it has wheel size and also speed limit setting. So if we go into there, you can see that that's how you adjust the speed limit. Very easy to set up, and obviously connect the throttle if you want to. So yeah, let's see what this bad boy can do on private land, of course. We've got a brake disc bolt hanging out. That's not good. All right, I better sort that. Easy to sort with the included toolkit. Let's get that tightened up. Right, onto the cycle path we go. So first thing I've noticed about this bike is it's quick. Like, it's got a lot of torque. It's from a standstill, it actually really gains speed, and despite the fact it's got 250 watts written on the hub, it's a lot more, I can tell you that, it's a lot more. Now I'm on a bit of a rougher surface. I mean, it was great on the pavement, obviously, or the cycle lane, it was brilliant, but now I'm on like a sort of rougher surface, you really notice that suspension. As I was saying before, like you can have these 20-inch fat bikes and they just clatter around, and you know, they're not, especially the folding ones, you know, they're just, yeah, they're fine, but they do clatter about a bit. This is a much nicer ride. If you're going to do a long distance, then full suspension, there's just no way around it, it's just going to be better. Like, it's just so much more comfortable on the backside. Yeah, it feels smooth, feels locked in. I'm loving this front suspension as well. Like the quality of it is really good. Like that proper hunkers down when you give it some braking. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy the rest of the ride down the towpath, and I'll catch up with you with my thoughts after I've done this little stretch. Well look, I've just noticed, look at the watt, it's got a watt meter on there. I've just tested it out. I'd be lying if I said it peaked at 1000 watt. It's flying! Right, so we're at my normal little test spot, pretty steep gradient. How's this bike gonna do? What do you reckon? I think it's gonna do pretty well. I haven't even changed gear, so I'm literally in a pretty like low gear. Nice little boat going past there. Nice little barge, some solar panels on, and a little chihuahua on there as well. So let's give it a go. We're in maximum power setting. Obviously, I'm going to be throttle. Can I do this with holding the phone? I knew I'd be able to do this. This has got power, guys. This has got a lot of power. Whoa! Look, I did that one-handed. I was only slightly pedalling. Oh, that is properly impressive, you know, because that's a heavy bike. Just having a spot of lunch, not peak. You know, the more I keep looking at this bike, the more I like it. It really could be the jack of all trades sort of Swiss Army knife e-bike. Can do everything. You know, at £2,099, which is what it's currently up for, it's not a cheap bike. But if you were going to buy one bike, you know, off-road, commuter, bit of fun at the weekend, I reckon this could be a good choice. Right, I'm back. What a nice, enjoyable ride. So, covered 9 miles in total, nearly 10. Battery's down to 34%. I mean, it wasn't completely fully charged, and I wasn't pedaling a lot, I won't lie, and I was trying all these hill tests and stuff like that. It's a heavy bike at the end of the day, so it is going to rip through that power quite quickly if you don't pedal. But saying that, if you do pedal, you're probably going to get, you know, upwards of 30 miles. If you don't pedal and you've got it on the high setting, I'd say probably 20 miles, you're gonna get range out of that battery. It's a really capable bike though, and with the fat tyres, you know, decent suspension, especially rear suspension as well, it makes for a really good ride. Like, you do get a bit of an arse ache if you're riding around 250 watt hardtail mountain bikes. As I say, the only real downside I could find with this bike is just its weight. It is just a bit more heavy than your average kind of mountain bike, but then, you know, you'd expect that because it's got bigger suspension, it's got front and rear suspension, of course. You know, battery capacity is big. It's a fat tyre bike as well, so the rims are obviously heavier. So maybe that's not really fair to say that that's a negative, because that's just the sort of bike it is. Also, forgot to mention, you've got rear brake lights as well, which is really, really neat. And obviously if you turn the main headlight on, which is becoming sort of standard these days, a pretty decent kind of projectory sort of style LED light. You get a nice tail light on there as well. So it's literally, there's nothing really else you would have to do to this bike. I mean, maybe you could change grips. Grips are kind of okay, they're just like foam. You know, if I decide to keep this bike, I might change those grips to something else. But overall, also I think if you could find a nice bag for the back of this, it'd be such a useful bike. I'll say again, this packs a punch. This bike has got a lot of power. There's not many bikes I do the review that can pass the bridge test like with flying colours. This just sailed up that, no problem at all. So if you want a fast bike, one that can be restricted, that's got 250 watts written on the motor even, you know, make of that what you will. But if you want a fast, capable, powerful bike that can do a multitude of things, I think you could do a lot worse than one of these. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.